Okay, so let's brush up again the concept that we have done before. Okay, so that it will give you a little more clear intuition about whatever till now whatever we have done, right? So again, we have done about like we have taken something as a definition of neurons. Okay, that what is basically a neurons, what is the input of the neuron, what is the output of the neuron. We have taken the example of T, the other ingredients, and some like another like input, and then try to define it as an input with some weight matrices. Okay, and then giving it some this neuron where like the magic happens, right? And if you just wanted to like look into the more magnified way of like whatever which is happening inside this neuron, so you can actually look it like this one. So every neuron is basically contains what? Okay, so every neuron contains one activation function. So here you agree with me, right? The other way is that every neuron is also contains some summation. Okay, so whatever the neuron that is actually taking it from the previous inputs, okay, it will try to do the summation operation over it, right? And then there is something called as bias. Okay, so that you will pass the output like the combination of these two into a activation function. Okay, now there are many type of activation function, I will discuss it later, right? Now here I've just written the type of activation function, which is like ReLU, TANH, sigmoid, softmax. I'll tell you that according to problem by problem which kind of activation function tackles what, okay, and when to use what, because in practical scenario it is very important, right? And again, these are actually the output. Okay, so these are basically my the input neuron, and these are actually the weight assigned to it. Okay, and these are actually the weight assigned to it, and this is by each neuron. Okay, and each neuron contains the structure like this, right? And this is basically the summation value. This is basically the summation value, right? And then it is actually passing it as an input into the activation function. Again, we do the summation and then we pass it into the activation function, and we get something like this. Now this becomes the input. Okay, this becomes the new input to the set of neurons which is present in the next layer. Okay, so again, if you wanted to find out like if you I so last lecture I asked you to like perform the weight matrices. Okay, so the weight matrices will look something like this, right? So this is my weight matrices, so that from all the previous neuron. Okay, and there are two way to look into the neuron, as I already told you. The first is the expressive function, okay, which means a set of, let's say, a pipeline of activation function. The second is like feature transformation. Now when I say about feature transformation, what does that mean? It means that you have an input and your input is very limited, but you wanted to like visualize it, maximize your input, right? So you try to like use it by increasing the set of neurons, right? Similarly, just understand in this way, right? Suppose that if I ask you that do the multiple of, let's say, 2 cross 6, right? So we all know that it is actually 12, right? So how our brain is actually processing it, when I actually give you a number, right, and when I say you the multiplication, so the number and multiplication has given to your memory feed. Okay, and inside it is actually like connecting with all the neurons, right? Whatever the things that you have learned how to multiply it, right, from your kindergarten, right? How to actually multiply it and everything, right? So it is basically connecting to all the input neuron which is basically necessary. Similarly in this way, right? So you have some kind of a feature input, right? And if you wanted to like look it and in a more dimensionify manner, you can actually like try to increase the neurons, okay, in the second layer. Okay, so here the compression and decompression happens, right? Now again, let's come to back propagation. So what is basically back propagation? Back propagation is basically a way, okay, in order to update your weight, right? So yeah, so suppose again taking the same example, so let's say that this is my milk, this is tea, and then this is the ingredient I have, right? And then these are the summation matrices I will be making. Okay, I will be making these kind of a summation matrices. This is basically my summation matrices, and this is the output function, right? So activation function, right? So these matrices has to go into this one, into the activation function. Okay, so let's say that I am actually using the activation function as a sigmoid. Okay, so in sigmoid activation function I have some like the graph I've already told you before, right? So I have something like this, right? So I have something like, let's say that in sigmoid activation I have something like this where I have some threshold. Okay, right? And then if it is actually like going above the threshold, my like already set threshold, if it is going above, then it is belonging to the class A, otherwise in class B. Similarly, let's say that it is like giving you below the threshold, it means that it is like only 30% you are getting a score, that so it is a very bad T, right? You are not even passed the test, right? So how will you do? So you will again update the weight matrices, because you will not going to update the x1, x2 and x3, because these are already preset input you have. Okay, which means that I have already given you the ingredient, I have already given you the milk, the sugar and the other ingredient, right? I'm not supposed to give the other extra ingredient as well, right? You need to just update the weight of that ingredient in order to make a good cup of tea. Okay, so you need to update the weight parameter, right? just like we did, like we used to do it in the ML foundation. Like if we going to see the any machine learning model, there is actually the weight assigned to it, right? Similarly here also there is a weight assigned to it, so we need to update the weight. Now here update the param, but like for example, let's say that if you wanted to update the weight, right? So how does the weight updation happen? Okay, so can you recall, as I told you in the very early part of the lecture in ML foundational course, which is like the new update weight is basically the old update weight minus of some learning rate, right? And some kind of a gradient loss, where I already told you the gradient, what is gradient before. Okay, so now can I just write it the gradient equation something like this now? Okay, so now let's say that we have a multi-layer perceptron. Okay, and this is just a single layer perceptron. Let's say that we have a multi-layer perceptron. So we have something called a layer 0, layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. So can I just represent this as this one? Can I represent this as this activation function, right? And can I just write it as this equation, like this is the input of my layer 1, right? Similarly for layer 2, can I just write it as this one? So this is basically the input of my layer 2, right? So this is basically the input of my final layer, right? And then in the final layer, I'm supposed to like organize everything and write it into this format, right? I hope you get it, right? And now wrapping all these concepts, so can I just write my final output as something like this? So where my final output is just the activation function of the third layer. Okay, so whatever the output that I get it from here, okay, this is my actually the final output, correct? This is basically my final output. Now this output, if you wanted to unchain it, right? Because I already told you that in order to update the weight, right? In order to update the weight, first of all, you need to find out the gradient. Without gradient, you cannot even update the weight, right? And what is gradient? Gradient I already told you before, right? It is just a differential way of your loss function. Okay. Now just unchain it. Okay. So can I write this activation function after unchaining? Can I write something like this? Okay, because this activation function is just layer 3 is basically the activation function of layer 2, correct? And layer 2 is basically the activation function of layer 1, correct? So can I write something like this? So this has to be my final output if I basically try to unchain it, right? This would be my final output. Now this is your y hat, right? And you have your y is basically your actual. Okay, and this is basically the y hat. So you wanted to find out the loss function, right? And how will you actually find out the loss function? It depends, right? Like for example, if you have a classification set of a problem, you have another kind of a loss function where you have a cross entropy loss, you have a probabilistic loss, you have a hinge loss, and you have a other kind of a loss as well, right? You have a binary cross entropy loss. If it is a regression problem, then you will be having another set of loss where you will be having a MAE, mean absolute error, mean squared error, right? So these things I already told you, like what are the loss function. So so in order to like find out the gradient, right? So can I just write it into the some kind of a gradient equation, something like this? Let me use it some other color, right? So can I write my gradient equation something like this, which is like the output, this is my final output, right? And final output from where I'm actually taking this is my final output. This is, if I just unchain it, right? If I just unchain this part, the output of final layer, okay, if I unchain it, I will be getting these many big equation, right? And now I am just passing this equation into my gradient function as an input, okay, and I'm actually taking the differential part of it. Now if you could just visualize, then if you're actually like finding out the differential, right? So can I say that you need to process it backwards, because this is actually like depending upon this one, this is depending upon this one, this is depending upon this one, right? So can I just write it like this one? This is the output parameter, and then like again multiplying partial differentiation with the inner parameter, again multiplying the partial differentiation with the more inner parameter till it reaches the first layer, right? Now this is the process which we call the chain rule, okay, because actually we are unchaining the operation, right? We are actually propagating it back in a backward direction. We are actually propagating it in the backward direction. Why? Because we wanted to find out the gradient function. Why? Because we wanted to find out, like, because we wanted to update our weight. Again, in order to update the weight, you need to find out the gradient function. In order to update, like in order to find out the gradient function, you need to do the back propagation. In order to do the back propagation, you need to find out the loss, and in order to find out the loss, you need to just map it that whether which type of loss function that I'm using, right? I hope you get it.